Some Stuff.
And I'm Richard.
And this is Maki.
Say hi, Maki. Hey. Today's question is from Taylor Likes Squirrels. Really cool name, Taylor. Question: I often do random acts of kindness where I randomly give someone money or ask them if I could treat them to a meal. In South Korea, would that be considered offensive? And do people help each other out often? This is an interesting question.
This is an interesting question. I kind of like this question, actually.
I just noticed you have orange lipstick on.
You did?
What are some things that might be considered offensive here that would be considered random acts of kindness in the West?
Giving people that you know or don't know hugs.
When you first meet them or when you are seeing them for the first time in a long time.
Yes. For example, whenever I have Korean friends, I usually wait for them to make the move to give me a hug before I hug them.
This is always a funny thing for me, because I want to give somebody a hug. In Europe, they give the kiss like, they do that in Spain, they do that in France and Italy. They don't do that in the US, but we do give hugs. Even middle school, and especially girls, will give hugs to each other when they see each other for the first time, or even on a daily basis at school.
You can hug or go like this or hold hands if you are of the same gender. That's more acceptable. Hugging people in general is just not something that you see as much of.
But they do it. It depends on how Western a person is, because for example, we had Ki-yoon and Seung-hee over here recently, and we went and had dinner with them afterwards. And then when we walked them over to the subway station when they were going to leave, they both reached out to us and hugged us to say goodbye. And I thought, oh my goodness, they're giving us a hug.
It makes you just feel all warm and bubbly and happy inside.
What's another thing that could be misunderstood here?
Talking to people that you don't know.
What do you mean?
I mean walking up and introducing yourself to someone who doesn't know you. Usually Korea is a place where people become friends because somebody else introduces them.
Or they just are friends from wherever, from class or from the same major, or from the dormitory or from school.
Very true. So, I say very true a lot.
You say very true a lot.
I do say very true a lot.
It's very true.
It's very true.
It's very true, she says very true a lot.
Yeah. Lost my train of thought.
I was reading a book by Michael Breen once called The Koreans. In fact, I have it. You know where I have it? I have it. It's stacked up here on our lights. He was explaining how knowing someone or not knowing someone is the difference in almost everything here, because people on the streets will walk and not look at each other, and anybody that they don't know is considered a non-person, and therefore interacting with them is sort of not accepted. For example, if you are lost and you need directions, you either get someone who's willing to help you or you get someone who doesn't want anything to do with you. And that's happened to us before.
Usually what I find best is if I'm completely and totally lost and my phone is not working, which is my backup plan, then I usually go into a convenience store and ask.
That sometimes fails though. I was down in Namhae, which is an island, a very local and very sparsely populated place. There's an American village that's called American Villagey or Migook Villagey. It's a very famous place on this island. Everybody knows about it. I went into a corner store. Those guys refused to help me. And it wasn't because they didn't know where it was. They were acting like they didn't know where it was, but they just didn't want to offer help at all. There was two guys there and they were just both like, I don't know you. Get away from me.
That doesn't happen a lot. People are generally really friendly and helpful, but it is, Seoul is a very big city, and the suburbs around Seoul are also very populated, as well as your big cities throughout Korea. And it's just so many people in such a small place that they kind of come to this understanding that doesn't matter if we're this close, you just don't make eye contact and you just don't talk to each other because it gets more uncomfortable.
That is how it is here.
Yeah.
There are some things here that would be considered offensive that we might consider random acts of kindness in the West.
Such as?
Tipping a woman. Trying to give a female money for, say, I don't know, restaurant service. That might be considered offensive.
Well, here in Korea, you don't tip at all. There is no real tipping culture. It's actually somewhat frowned upon, with a few exceptions.
For example, if you are in a taxi and say it comes to $5.50 and you want to give $6, almost always that taxi driver will accept the money, where some of them are reaching to give you the change, some of them are hoping that you're going to tip. As a rule of thumb, taxi drivers accept tips.
Unless you're a woman, sometimes they don't, or unless the taxi driver is a woman, in which case she may not. There are a lot of opportunities if you're really interested in doing acts of kindness for people. There are a lot of volunteer opportunities, and that's actually one thing I wanted to talk about, because there are ways that you can help out in animal shelters, there are ways that you can help out in orphanages. Helping out people who have escaped from North Korea is actually another thing that I've encountered people doing. People giving free English lessons in their free time.
You see a lot of that.
Yeah, you do see a lot of that. Like we were talking earlier about hugging is a no-no generally to people that you don't know, but you do have organized like free hug events, so... Which
I've seen in Seoul. I've actually filmed a little bit of it, and they're fun. It's really more open-minded people that participate in that. It isn't often you see it, but they do have it. You do also run across very kind Korean individuals. For example, we've traveled around this country quite a bit. As you get further outside the city, the people do tend to get a little bit more friendly. It's just like anywhere else in the world. And I remember this one time that we were eating at a restaurant when we had traveled down to the southwest near Gwangju. We ordered food and the owner came and sat next to us. Then when he realized that we weren't from that area, he started bringing us all different kinds of kimchis, which we hadn't ordered and which I don't think he was going to bring until he spoke with us. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
We had like 6 different types of kimchis on the table at the same time. It's like all the kimchis that you could get here. And that was really cool. I remember thinking, wow, this guy is really nice.
He was so friendly.
That was random.
It was very random, and it was so much fun trying all these kimchis, like kimchi taste test party.
And they were delicious. All of them were. No, they were for me.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of radish kimchi.
You know what else you see here during the holidays is the Salvation Army.
Yes, you do see the Salvation Army. We've actually filmed the Salvation Army before.
Exciting filming indeed. Yes, Salvation Army video.
Myeongdong.
Right, but they're there ringing the bell. They're exactly the same as they are anywhere else. If you know what the Salvation Army is, they got them in Korea.
Happy holidays, folks. So that's it for our Random Acts of Kindness in Korea video. We hope that you enjoyed it.
If you decide you randomly have a question about Korea, we might randomly choose it if you write it in the comment section down below this video screen. You can also leave us a question on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/HallyuBack, and write a note on our wall.
Or you can write a note on our blog.
You can write a note on our blog too, that's right. Also, don't forget to like this video, and if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. We make videos about life in Korea and
Asian dramas.
That's it for today's Life in Korea.
Experience it!